Assalamu alaikum. I'm Dr. Usman Qayyum with another episode of Let's Talk. Today our guest is Mariam Saeed Khan. She's a poet, a journalist, a writer, a digital storyteller with a lot of experience in the creative industry. Welcome, Mariam.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I'm honored to be here and humbled. Thank you.
Well, I must say it's a pleasure to have you. You represent a number of things that I think our audience is going to find interesting. You have a lot of experience in creative writing. You're a poet. You're also in a generation where we find there is a lot of factors and unresolved issues that have not been very successfully addressed in our society. So I think today we'll focus on your experience being a part of that generation and also being able to express it in a way much better than a lot of our youth have been able to. So maybe in you, they have found a voice. How do you feel about that responsibility?
I think with great responsibility comes great power with the words, and if people look up to you, then you must be doing something right, and it's a lot of responsibility to take forward things और साथ लेके चलना सबको. तो मेरी जनरेशन के लिए आई थिंक ये एक विद द पेन पावर ऑफ पेन और साथ लेके चलना लोगों को एक बहुत ज़्यादा है और एक्सपीरियंस भी ऐसा है तो इंगेज करना और जब लोग प्रोएक्टिवली रीच आउट करते हैं तो आई थिंक दैट्स द एक्सपीरियंस एंड हेल्पिंग पीपल आउट गिविंग बैक टू द कम्युनिटी.
श्योर. आपका क्या एक्सपीरियंस रहा है? Obviously you have a profile. Do young people reach out to you? Are they more open to express themselves and their opinions to you?
Yes, people do reach out to me. They do ask for guidance, advice in the creative industry, plus in how they are dealing with the stuff at their universities, or as a mentor, they look up to me when they reach out from my school or university, and random people also, they want advice on how to get going in this industry. So yeah, people do reach out and I try my best to give them the best advice how to go about it.
Sure. That's very interesting. We're coming from two different disciplines. I'm a psychiatrist. We are trained to look at the pathology in people. You're coming from a very creative process where you may not necessarily look at the pathology. You may look at the good things in people's life. You may also look at the not so good things. But in that context, let me ask you this. What do you feel that the youth in our country are going through? Let's be specific about the Xers, the Millennial Generation. A lot of people talk about that. Unfortunately, the models that we have are based on the European or the Western models. What's your experience of that generation in this country?
I think we have a sound, structured family system, first of all, which we are carrying forward since generations and legacies of people. So I think when to unlearn and when to stop that pattern of what to take away from those generations and our family structure. That is number one thing that living in Pakistan has taught me, because there's an intergenerational gap also. And then if I have to see from what sort of issues and things my generation is experiences, that is where to break that pattern, where to bring forward our thinking, and where to bring the communication which is missing. I think a lot of things our generation has the burden to unpack, unlearn, and then move forward by healing that narrative from the past people and the family dynamics. I think that's really important. And we do adapt things from media and Western side, but I think we should take what's good in it and then minus the bad in it, because no one is perfect, and nor our generation and nor is the family system. So I think we have to be very critical and very observational with our patterns of where we are going, and being self-aware is where we can tap into our relations and bring the best things in both the generation gaps.
Do you feel there is an issue with the generation gap? And do you feel the youth have the tools to be able to break through that communication barrier or whatever we perceive as the generation gap?
Yeah, I don't think so. Youth have so many tools of that because जब हम बड़े हो रहे होते हैं तो schools में, colleges में एक set dynamic होता है that we have to follow these set of rules और system ये है, and whoever questions that or even if the person asked in the classroom questions तो out of textbooks हो तो teachers and जो academia है हमारा system वहाँ पे fail थोड़ा इस तरह हो जाता है कि हमें critical और creative थिंकिंग नहीं सिखाई जाती है और जो लोग इसको क्वेश्चन कर रहे होते हैं वो उस ग्रुप का उस कम्युनिटी का पार्ट उस तरह बनते नहीं बिकॉज दे आर द ब्लैक शीप्स ऑफ दे आर द रिबेलियंस और दे आर द न्यू पीपल हु आर लाइक क्वेश्चनिंग बिकॉज दे आर क्वेश्चनिंग जो चीज़ें एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं हैं या जो चीज़ें उनकी समझ में ये नहीं आ रही कि ऐसा क्यों है तो अगर वो क्वेश्चन नहीं करेंगे तो वो गैप तो बढ़ता जाएगा और फिर फेलियर्स और शॉर्ट कमिंग्स तो जनरेशन की भी नज़र आएंगी और उस तरह उनको कोपिंग मैकेनिज़्म नहीं मिलेगा हमारी जनरेशन को और जो हमारे जो सिस्टम एम्बेडेड हैं एंड प्रीवियस जनरेशन्स तो आई थिंक वो बहुत ज़रूरी है कम्युनिकेट करना सिस्टम में नया तरीके लेकर आना पुराने तरीके तो आई थिंक द डेड पीपल हैव टेकन देम विद देयर नेक्स्ट लाइफ बट वी हैव टू सी हमारी जो आज की जिंदा जनरेशन है वो कहाँ से इधर से जा सकती है एंड आई थिंक आवर यूथ इज़ फेसिंग अ लॉट ऑफ identity crisis and self-awareness issues also. There's too much self-awareness or there's no. So there's no balance. वो जो म्याना रवि होता है.
Very well said. आपने हमारे इस सेशन से पहले you and I were talking a little bit. आपने बड़ा अच्छा एक quote रामदास का किया था. वो आप शेयर करें. I thought that was very appropriate.
Yeah, I think वो ये था कि take people as they are like we take trees. तो अगर हम लोगों को दरख्तों की तरह देखेंगे तो हमें समझ आएगा कि उनकी अच्छाइयाँ भी हैं उनमें कुछ येलो लीव्स भी हैं जो हर इंसान में होते हैं बिकॉज हम बाय डिफ़ॉल्ट वी आर द पीपल हु विल मेक मिस्टेक्स बट वी हैव टू कीप फॉरगिविंग ईच अदर टू हैव दैट रूम टू हैव द सेफ स्पेस कि हाँ आपसे मिस्टेक हो सकती है you can make mistakes but we have to communicate and we have to tell the person what the other person has expectation हमारे से क्या है उनकी needs क्या हैं अगर वो एक balance way में नहीं होगा तो फिर वो I think दरख्त भी मुरझा जाएगा उसको पानी नहीं मिलेगा और वो बेचारा ऐसे ही फिर जब हम नहीं लोगों को as it is लेंगे
Sure. Accept people for what they are.
Yeah, and from where they're coming from.
Take home message.
Yeah.
And on that note, let's move on to something else. My experience has been more in the States. I'm an adult psychiatrist. I don't tend to see a lot of younger people, but there is a general sense of anhedonia, pessimism in the youth in the Western world. Where is the world heading between the climate crisis, the political process, in different countries of the world. Now with COVID-19, there's a sense of almost a fatalism. Okay, are we going to be around in the next 50 years? Does it really matter? Is this something that you've kind of touched on or you've seen in the youth in Pakistan? Is this something you've touched on in your writings?
So basically during the lockdown I realized that a lot of people don't know themselves तो lockdown ने force किया हमारे जो generations को कि वो still हो जाएं वो जो उनको एक आदत थी भागने की दौड़ने की तो lockdown forced them to like sit still sit with themselves have that session with themselves and see where they're going and जो patterns हैं वो देखें और through the writings I experienced and met a lot of people from different fields तो उससे ये पता चला कि पुरानी जनरेशन में सेल्फ अवेयरनेस तो है बट हमारे पास जो जनरेशन अब आई है जो हम लोग हैं हमारे पास बहुत कुछ क्लाइमेट ये सारे इश्यूज बहुत चल रहे हैं तो हम एक इमरजेंसी मोड में भी आ गए हैं कि इतना कुछ अभी दुनिया में हो रहा है people are becoming too critical pessimistic but there has to be a balance of positive thinking also कि आप पॉजिटिव थिंक ये नहीं होता कि डिल्यूजनल हो जाएं कि भाई दुनिया में कोई बुराई नहीं है या हम फेल नहीं हो सकते एक्सेप्ट यू विल फेल बट लेट इट गो मेक पीस विद इट आप अपनी बेस्ट शॉट देते हैं एंड देन इफ थिंग्स वर्क आउट दे वर्क बट इफ दे डोंट यू डोंट हैव टू बीट योर सेल्फ डाउन और द अदर पर्सन यू कैन हैव अ पीसफुल रिलेशंस ऑल्सो, एंड आप अपने अंदर अगर खुश नहीं होंगे तो आई थिंक बाकियों का फिर आप इस तरह रख नहीं सकेंगे. तो हमारे इश्यूज इंटरपर्सनली बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, और जो क्लाइमेटिकल ये सारा जो चल रहा है वो एकदम से इमरजेंसी मोड में आ गया ना, क्योंकि नेचर ने भी हमें बैलेंस में लाना था. तो आई थिंक उस तरह.
Almost all of last year, people have struggled with COVID-19 related isolation. It's affected all aspects of our life. Has it affected your writing? Has it affected your poetry?
Yeah, of course, it has made me like more self-conscious about what I'm writing. The art of stillness, or sitting with my own self, has made me be very conscious about the things we give out to the world and how we postpone a lot of things. So I think lockdown ने ये सिखाया कि life is too short. Alhamdulillah, we are the privileged one. We had the privileges at our place, but many people don't have that. So how we can make the most out of it? Now we can give back to the community. And writing में obviously वो एक sense of responsibility और आ गई, और community को कैसे give back देना है और कैसे साथ लेके चलना है लोगों को. तो एक वो gratitude ज़्यादा I think lockdown ने सिखाया.
Sure, understandable. So I think we are kind of coming to the end of our. This has been very insightful for me to hear you talk about these issues. अगर आपका कोई अपने audience को, आपके जो fans हैं, उनको कोई take away message है, तो वो क्या आप चाहेंगे?
I think 3 चीज़ें basically चाहूँगी कि एक के आई थिंक हम लोगों को एक दूसरे से बात करनी चाहिए, कम्युनिकेट करना चाहिए कि हमें एक दूसरे से क्या चाहिए. वो जो गैप आ जाता है बहुत लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस, वो हम लोग फिर एकदम से कट ऑफ भी हो जाते हैं. वी डोंट नो, वी आर सो मच अपनी ज़िंदगी में बहुत ज़्यादा मगन होते हैं. दूसरा, सेल्फ अवेयरनेस होनी चाहिए कि आपको ये तो पता हो कि आपको क्या नहीं चाहिए अपने आप से, अपने ड्रीम से, अपने पाथवे से. और तीसरा ये कि जनरेशनल गैप्स जो हैं, फैमिली पैटर्न्स जो अनहेल्दी, उनको वहाँ पे ही पैक करके रख दें और नया लेकर आएँ. आप पास में नहीं जा सकते, बट आप उनको एक नए तरीके से जो आज के दौर में उसको एक नया तरीका दे सकते हैं. और इस तरह बहुत सारी हीलिंग होगी सबकी, आपस में भी और इंटरपर्सनली भी. और हमारी जो यूथ है जो आई थिंक एक्सेप्ट फेलियर्स को नहीं कर पा रही, तो वो करना स्टार्ट हो जाएगी जब वो देखेंगे कि हम इंसान ही और हमारा टाइम बहुत लिमिटेड है, एंड लाइफ इज़ टू शॉर्ट.
Thank you very much. On that note, I would like to sum up a few of my thoughts. Mariam has very eloquently put into words what a lot of people think. I'm a physician, I'm a psychiatrist. We deal with death and dying. That's nothing new for us. But this COVID-19 pandemic has brought a different perspective into everybody's lives. So I think our take-home message from our conversation really is that you need to focus on the good things in your life. I think you need to form relationships. You need to be able to communicate in the relationships that you have, whether they're with your parents, whether they're with spouses, friends, family. I think you have to form bridges. I think this is also a good time for all of us to recalibrate and look at where our lives are and where we would like to go from here. So on that note, we will end today's session. Thank you, and we will see you the next time.